Hey Diamonds, so today we are going to talk about placement and really creating a strategy for placement, especially after you are starting to work your spouse's business and then you get your second CBC and you start to place on your second CBC. So I know I've talked to a lot of you about this, but this is just going to touch the surface, and a lot of times this is going to depend on your specific downline and where your strong leg is, where your weak leg is, where people are placed. So there's a lot of determining factors in placement, but this is just going to give you an idea of the best way to place people on your downline. So I'm going to share my screen and show you a picture that I had shared on the Diamond page. So you can see here, I shared this picture the other day on the Diamond page. You may or may not have seen it. Hopefully you're plugging in and taking a look at what's going on the Diamond page, just because there's so much good stuff there, and I really try to share stuff with you guys because you're leading teams, and I want to make sure that you're well equipped and you can share this with your people. So number one, first and foremost, you want to make sure that you're always checking in with your coaches to make sure that they're placing correctly, to make sure that they're placing on the outside. So if you see where you are here up on top, okay, so this is you right here, obviously you want to make sure that when you're placing your coaches, you're placing them along here and along here. Okay, along the outside. Okay, so when you do that, you also want to teach your coaches to do that. Let's take, for instance, let's just say that you have a new coach that's placed here, that's placed right here, okay, right there. And that coach, and then you also then place another coach here, okay, so you have two coaches, and then this coach right here says, okay, this coach, let's say, I just want to make sure that you guys can see what I'm doing. This coach right here says, okay, I'm going to get to Emerald. So what they do is they sign a coach. They sign a coach on their right leg right here. Okay, that's great. And then they go to sign a coach on their left leg. What can happen sometimes is that they sign a coach on their left leg, but it's on this person's right leg, so it's on the inside leg. That's not okay. We want to make sure that they place their coach on the left leg right here, even though it's not directly underneath them. I think you guys know that and understand that. The reason why we don't want them to place here on this coach's inside leg is because what if this is a discount coach and this coach is never going to be putting more coaches here? That coach is completely stuck and has no way to build. There's nowhere to build on that leg. Okay, so there's never going to be any coaches coming down in their strong leg on the trickle down effect. The benefit of having a strong leg and being part of a strong leg and having your upline help you in the binary system is that you're going to be getting coaches along your strong leg. Now, not everybody has that. Like, there's not everybody that's going to have an upline that is currently building underneath them. So there's going to be some of you that are going to be on inside legs. And honestly, that's where I was placed. I was placed on an inside leg, and my upline is not really building. So I never had anybody placing. I mean, there's definitely, I would say there's probably about 5 to 10 coaches in my downline from upline. Okay, so not a huge difference. Comparatively to the 21 or 2,200 that we have total on Team Triceps as of today. So what I'm saying by that is, even if you're on an inside leg and you're not getting help from upline above, you could still create your own income. There's a lot of us, like a very specific example is Carly. She is on an inside leg and she's not getting a ton of help bringing down, and she's created a lot of her own volume. So very similar to my situation. Okay, so everybody can create their own volume. It does not matter where you're placed. Okay, so that's the first thing. You want to make sure that your people, again, are building on the outside. And when you put someone, again, if you put someone right here, this guy, you put someone right here. Let me redo that. If you put someone right here, you want to make sure that they are building here, and then also here, because they're going to have their inside leg here, and that's creating their strong and weak legs for their team. Okay, cool. Everybody got that. So the weak leg is always going to be the inside leg. Not always, but most of the time it's going to be the inside leg. The team leg is going to be strong. That's not always the case. Sometimes it flip-flops depending on who ends up on your weak leg or strong leg. Okay? So going forward for you personally, this is the strategy that I want you guys to follow. So what I teach is that your spouse or significant other should be on the top of your weak leg. And I know that's not the case for everybody, but that's what I teach in Rock the Basics now. And that's how my business is currently set up. Adam is at the top of my weak leg, at the very, very top. Okay. And what that does for us is because he's at the top of our weak leg, hold on, side note, when I first started, since I was on an inside leg, I didn't have a strong or a weak leg. So we just got lucky that it ended up that way. I mean, it very could have ended up where Adam could have been at the top of my strong leg and we would have just rolled with it and it would have been a completely different strategy. But now I really teach, I know when you place coaches, you know what leg is going to be weak. You know what leg is going that is their inside leg. So you want to teach them to put their spouse on the inside leg at the top. Okay, so when the spouse is on the weak leg at the top, right here, right, this is spouse or significant other right there, you want to make sure that they're at the top and that they're on the weak leg, you know, and make your best guess. If you need help with that, let me know, but I think you guys should know which one is weak and strong for your people. So what that does, because you have a spouse on your weak leg, when you start to build your spouse and you start to say, okay, I'm going to get my spouse to Emerald because I want them to start earning team cycle bonuses. Okay, I want to start getting my spouse to Success Club 5 or Success Club 10 now, because we can start getting leads on our spouse's account. Let me do that. Why not get myself to 10, spouse to 10? It's a great income strategy. For a while in 2013, I got Adam to Success Club 5 every month in 2013. 2014, I backed off because he wasn't counting for elite anymore. But I was still giving him coaches here and there. I wish I would have stuck with it and continued to get him to Success Club 5 because we would have had a lot more leads building up on his account. But now, going forward now in 2015, I have already committed to getting him to Success Club 10 this year because I want to earn a cruise on his account. So anyways, plus not only to earn the cruise, but I also have big goals of getting Adam to elite. There's a very strong possibility that Adam's account will be elite, his CBC. I don't look at it. I look at his CBC really as my secondary CBC. And this is a side note, I'm getting totally off track, but when you're going for elite, obviously the coaches that you place under your spouse do not count for elite. So you definitely have to keep that in mind. And for me, I know that I will hit elite on my account, so I know that I can give coaches away to Adam's CBC to also create a 5-star elite account and create more income for us. So it's just the strategy that I'm going with this year. Okay, so anyways, so once you start building your spouse and you say, I want to get my spouse to diamond because I want that to count as one of my diamonds, which you absolutely should, and you absolutely should have a goal in the next, 2 to 3 years to also get your spouse to 2-star to open another CBC. You definitely want to have as many CBCs as you can get accumulating over the years. And CBCs take a long time to build because you have to get to 2-star. So it takes a while to build CBCs, but just always keep that in your mind. So Adam his account is going to be 2-star next week, actually. So we'll be able to open up a second CBC in his name, which is awesome. So that will be our 4th CBC. Yes, that will be our 4th. Okay. So when you build your spouse to diamond, obviously you are going to be, you guys know, diamond 4 here, 4 here. So what you're doing with your spouse account, when you're building your spouse to diamond, you're also building your weak leg. So the really cool thing about having your spouse on top here is that whatever volume is accumulating under your spouse, whatever your spouse's account is bringing in with team cycle bonuses, that all that TV is building up under you and creating team cycle bonuses for you on your first CBC. Okay, so it compounds, it doubles the amount of money. Okay, so here's the really cool part. As you build your weak leg, now this weak leg really needs to be getting, I would say, 5,000 a week before you move to this next strategy that I'm going to tell you about. Okay, so once this weak leg is getting 4,000 to 5,000 per week, this is when you move to this next strategy. Okay, so the next strategy is to start placing your first CBC coaches on your spouse's weak leg. So you know how you can move the red guy wherever you want. Okay, so depending on how strong your one leg is and how weak your other leg is, you're going to want to be stacking your weak leg. If your strong leg is strong, you want to stack, right, on the weak leg. So if you're stacking on that weak leg, okay, and you have 4,000 to 5,000 accumulating on that weak leg, you are going to start to put your first CBC coaches, placing them right here on your spouse's weak leg. Why? Because that is going to still give you volume on your weak leg, but it's also going to build the weak leg of your spouse. Okay, so again, these are first business center coaches right here that you're going to place on your weak leg of your spouse. Now, eventually, when you get your second CBC open, I will always tell you to put the second CBC on the weak leg of your spouse if your spouse is on your weak leg. Okay, second CBC right there, right? Okay, and then as you start building your second CBC and you get that to diamond, that is going to significantly increase the team cycle bonuses that you're getting on your first CBC and on your spouse's CBC. Okay, because all of that volume is coming through your second CBC. And like we've talked about in many of these videos, once you open your second CBC, all of your new customers are going to be using that new second CBC coach ID. All of your new orders. You can't switch your customers already from first to second. You just keep them on your first. But any new people that come in, you give them the link to your second CBC, or you send them the enrollment from your second CBC. That's going to create volume. You don't get Success Club points on your second CBC. It all rolls up to your first. But the volume is in the second CBC, and that helps you team cycle bonus. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Okay, it helps you make a lot more money. It helps you basically triple your money if your business is set up like this. Okay, so once this leg, so now going back to that other strategy about placing inside the legs. If this leg here under your second CBC is getting to about 4,000 to 5,000, that's when you're going to start placing coaches from your CBC and your spouse's CBC on your weak leg of your second CBC. So you can really start to play with the numbers and make sure that you are placing coaches no matter what CBC they're on. You place coaches in a way that is going to help triple your income no matter what. Okay, so this is the strategy that I use. Now, your account may not be set up like this, and that's okay. If your spouse is on your strong leg, if your spouse is over here, like let's make this green. If this is your spouse here on the top of your strong leg, that's okay. Whenever you're building on your strong leg, like say you have to put more people on your strong leg, you should always place them on the weak leg no matter what. You should always place those coaches on the weak leg. Oops, let me change it back to this. You should always place those coaches on the weak leg of your spouse. Okay, does that make sense? Because you want to make sure that you don't necessarily need the volume along this way because it's your strong leg, but your spouse could use the volume on their weak leg. So you can always pick where your coaches are going. So be very strategic about it. If you have any questions, I want you guys to comment below because I know this is a lot. But I hope this helps. I hope this gives you a better idea. And just remember that it's just building blocks. It's just laying brick after brick, and it's going to start to make sense a little bit at a time. If you ever have any questions about placement, about second CBCs, please reach out to your upline. If they can't figure it out or help you, I know they'll come to me. Okay, but I think we have such great leadership on this team, and people really truly understand this, that we have enough knowledge on this team to make sure that we're all following this very same sort of placement strategy to make the most income for our families. We need to be business smart about this, and we need to make sure that we are taking advantage of every opportunity to make income because we work so hard, and why not take advantage of that? So again, it just goes to show why it's important to sign up the spouse early in the right placement. So teaching your team to do that, and it shows why it's so important to get to 2-star to get your second CVC. It just completely revs up your income. Okay, guys. Again, if you have questions, post below. Hope you have an awesome weekend, and we will see you next week.